Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Priti Namine Namaste Saraswate Gaurvani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaurvani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare संकीर्तन यज्ञ की जय, शिल प्रभुपाद की जय, गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्री Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitanshcha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchan Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah nama om vishnu padaya krishna pristhaya bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminithi Namine Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Mukham karoti vachalam pangum langhayate girim yakripa tamaham vande Shri Guru Dinatarinam Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Adi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna. Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 2, text number 24. Achedyoyam adhayoyam akle adyo akleshosya evacha nitya sarvagata sthano achaloyam sanatanaha. Read translation.
This individual soul is unbreakable and insoluble, and can be neither burned nor dried. He is everlasting, present everywhere, unchangeable, immovable, and eternally the same.
Yes. So, in the last class, we covered the purport partially. So today you have to begin from the second paragraph. The word Sarvagata, like that. Begin.
The word Sarvagata, all pervading, is significant because there is no doubt that living entities are all over God's creation. They live on the land, in the water, in the air, within the earth, and even within fire.
Yes. See, sometimes some poison is there, let's say. Poison is kept in some bottle, or some poisonous tank is there. So sometimes they clean it. They clean the poisonous tank for certain reason. So they may find some germs there also. Inside the poison, germs are living. Just like snake. Snake has poison in its body, but snake is living. So living entities there within the poison. Living entities there inside the fire also. See, earth, water, fire, air, ether. They are needed for living, and they can destroy the life also. Fire is needed for living. Without fire, how you will cook? But fire can destroy your life. Water is needed for living, but the same gush of excess water can destroy your life. Air is needed for us, but that same air with huge storm of wind can destroy your life. Similarly, earth is needed, but earthquake can destroy your life. Similarly, ether is earth, water, fire, air. Ether is needed, but the same ether can destroy your life. So like that. So poison destroys the life, but for some living entity, poison is needed for the living. Like that. Fire can destroy the life, but for some living entity, fire is needed for the living. There is some bacteria called fire bacteria. They live in the fire only. Like that. Just like fishes, they live in the water only. But we cannot survive in that water. Like that. So living entity is everywhere, all pervading. Read further.
The belief that they are sterilized in fire is not acceptable because it is clearly stated here that the soul cannot be burned by fire.
Yes. So earlier, when the doctors would use the injection, they would clean the injection needle with the warm water. Around how many years back? Maybe 30 years back. They would clean the injection needle always with the warm water. Nowadays, they don't clean it, they throw it. They take new needles like that. But earlier, they would clean.
Sterilize.
Yeah. So they were thinking that by cleaning with warm water, it will be cleaned. But now they don't think so. Okay. Because here it is said that the belief that they are sterilized in fire is not acceptable. Because living entities everywhere. Earlier they were thinking that in the warm water, hot water, living entity is not there. But no, it is there. Read further.
Therefore, there is no doubt that there are living entities also in the sun planet with the suitable bodies to live there.
Yes. So sometimes our scientists who are who are fooling people around in the world by saying that we went to the moon and saying that there is no living entity in the moon, no trees, nothing. But Shri Prabhupada is saying what to speak of moon, even on the sun living entities are there. So definitely in the moon also lot of living entities are there, and definitely in the sun also and all the other planets. Read further.
If the sun globe is uninhabited, then the word Sarvagata, living everywhere, becomes meaningless.
Yes. Okay. So in sun planet, in moon planet, in all other planets, living entities are there. Living entities Sarvagata means living everywhere, all existing. Next verse. Avyaktoyam achintyoyam avikaryoyam uchyate tasmadevam viditvainam nanu shochitam arhase. The translation.
It says that the soul is invisible, inconceivable, and immutable. Knowing this, you should not grieve for the body.
Yes, soul is invisible. That means you cannot see it. With these eyes, with material eyes, you cannot see it. With spiritual eyes, you can see. With material eyes, soul is invisible. Inconceivable. That means with your material mind and intelligence, soul is inconceivable. With spiritual mind and intelligence, yes, soul can be conceived. But with your material mind and intelligence, soul is inconceivable. You cannot understand. And soul is immutable. What is mutation? Sometimes,
Change itself.
yeah, they will bring some change. They will not bring. They will not just like what is uh, like change the color of the, just like this room is there, you can change the color of the wall. You didn't change the room, just change the color, like that. So earlier tomatoes were growing small, you did some mutation and tomatoes are coming big size without any taste. Like that, all the tomatoes appear very red, but if you eat it,
Yes,
no taste. It appears like you are eating some paper, thermocol, yes, something like that. No taste. Our apple is also like that, eating thermocol. So like that. So this is called mutation. You do some mutation, increase its size, and makes the color very bright, but inside hollow, like that. So this is called mutation. So yes, you can do mutation of flowers, fruits, but you cannot do mutation of soul. Soul is immutable. You cannot bring any change in the soul. Soul is immutable. So when nothing can happen to the soul, why are you disturbed? Why are you disturbed? Only body. Something happens to the body that anyway is going to happen, whether you fight or not fight. So why are you disturbed? So one should not grieve for the body. Read further.
As described previously, the magnitude of the soul is so small for our material calculation that he cannot be seen even by the most powerful microscope. Therefore, he is invisible.
Yes. So first of all, material dimension is not applicable upon soul. Just like dimension of height is not applicable on water. Can you ask what is the height of water? No, this dimension is not applicable. So similarly, all material dimensions are not applicable on soul. So from that perspective, that material dimension is not applicable for the soul. It is said magnitude of the soul, that means material dimension of the soul is so small. It is just said like that. Actually, it is not applicable. But if you apply it, it is so small that from your material calculation, you cannot figure it out. So it cannot be seen by powerful microscope. Thus, it is considered as invisible. Okay, but actually, it is not within the range of seeing itself. Soul is not within the range for us to see. There are many things which are not within the range for us to see. Air is not within our range to see, like that. Read further.
As far as the soul's existence is concerned, no one can establish his
Existence.
existence, existence experimentally beyond the scope of Shruti or Vedic wisdom.
Yes. See, material experiments have the limitation. How to establish the existence of soul? What we say is body is living, body is dead now. If you analyze living body and immediately after death, same hand, same leg, same organs, everything same. But this body was active, this body is dead, isn't it? So what we say is that all those same organs, everything same, but there must be something which was there in the living body which is missing in the dead body. There must be something which was living in the dead, which was there in the living body is missing in the dead body. What is that? So let's say call it alpha in mathematical language, or you call it soul in spiritual language. Okay. So this much only you can say from your material experimentation. Only this much you can say that that missing entity is alpha. Now, what is that alpha? What it means? You cannot figure it out. Only from scriptural knowledge you can understand what is that alpha. That alpha is soul. What is soul? The soul is invisible, inconceivable, immutable, like that. Soul is the one by whose presence the whole body becomes conscious. Like there's so many properties of the soul are taught in the scripture. So only from scripture we can understand what is soul. Okay, just like I will tell you, you press the button and the fan is running. What happened? You press the button, then the fan runs. You press the button in another way, the fan closes, stops. What difference? I mean, it was the same fan. What difference happened in the fan that it is now running? Earlier it was not running.
Supply of electricity.
Supply of electricity. Are you able to see it? No. So the one who has the understanding of knowledge of electrical engineering, he can say that this is how it happens and the fan rotates. And what about what is electricity? Then he can tell so many details about electricity because he has knowledge. Similarly, to know the details of soul, you cannot do any experimentation. For electricity, you do some experimentation. Still, what with all your experimentation, whatever you say is again just imagination. Of course, your imagination holds true in so many experiments. That is the only correct part. But it's all imagination. So similarly, for soul, it is difficult to imagine anything because you don't have any way to experiment. At least for electricity, you can do some experimentation. For soul, you cannot do any experiment. They did some experiment on near-death experiments, near-death experience, and they did experimentation on past life memories. They did experimentation on out-of-body experience. From all these experiments, they could say only this much: that soul moves from one body to another body. Or they said that when some serious traumatic accident takes place, then soul comes out of the body sometimes and goes inside the body like that. Only this much they could say, not much. So more details about the soul we get from scriptures only. And scriptures are called as Shruti because these scriptures came to us in disciplic succession, and in disciplic succession teacher speaks to the student and student hears it from his teacher and tells it to his student. So in this way, through the hearing in Guru Parampara, this knowledge has come. That is why scriptures are called as Shruti or Vedic wisdom. So details of the soul can be understood only from Shruti, scriptures, not by material experimentation. Read further.
We have to accept this truth because There is no other source of understanding the existence of the soul, although it is a fact by perception. There are many things we have to accept solely on grounds of superior authority. No one can deny the existence of his father based upon the authority of his mother.
Wait. If a small child wants to understand, let's say a small child has not seen his father anytime. If that child wants to know who is my father, how we can know? Huh?
To ask the simplest,
To ask the mother. Any other option?
to get that test done.
Very tough,
Very
very
tough.
difficult. Experimentation will not work. Very difficult. So you ask mother, that's all. That is the only way. Similarly, if you want to know about God, ask scriptures. That is the only way. So you have to ask the authority basically. So similarly, to know about the soul, you have to accept the scriptural authority. Then only you can understand, otherwise you cannot understand. Read further.
There is no source of understanding the identity of the father except by the authority of the mother.
Hare Krishna.
Similarly, there is no source of understanding the soul except by studying the Veda. In other words, the soul is inconceivable by human experimental knowledge. The soul is consciousness and con-
Conscious.
conscious. That also is the statement of the Vedas, and we have to accept that. Unlike the bodily changes, there is no change in the soul. As externally unchangeable, the soul remains atomic in comparison to the infinite supreme soul.
Wait. So material dimensions are not applicable upon the soul. Due to presence of soul, whole body becomes conscious. That is correct. So material dimensions are not applicable upon the soul. But still, to understand the soul in comparison to super soul, it is said soul is atomic and super soul is infinite. So when word atomic word is used, our imagination may be very small like that. Not like that. It only means, see, it not very small in terms of material calculation, very small in terms of spiritual calculation, which we cannot understand. So, Supreme Lord, He is oceanic. Soul is like a drop. Supreme Lord is like a big fire. Soul is like a spark. Supreme Lord is like a big mine, big mine of gold. Soul is like just small ornament, gold ornament. So all these comparisons are given. So this is just to understand that Supreme Lord is very big, and soul in comparison to Supreme Lord is very small, tiny. But whenever we use this word, should not imagine materially. It must be very small. See, the same soul is living in the ant, same soul is living in the elephant, isn't it? Can you imagine if you think in terms of small size, that small size soul is making the ant move, and the same small size soul is making the elephant move, isn't it? How it works. Now you have vehicles, different vehicles. I believe there are different size of batteries in different vehicles, right? It should not be same size of battery which is running a small wristwatch, this much size battery, and big your car is running same size of battery. It doesn't happen like that. But same type of soul is making the ant move and making the elephant move. So the size of soul is not in terms of material calculation. Okay. It is spiritual, that's all. It is not applicable that this is the size of ant, so soul must be smaller than that. Do not think like that. Soul is spiritual in nature, it has no connection with material dimension, that's all. That same soul can exist in ant body, that same soul can exist in elephant body. And when that soul is existing elephant body, it makes that whole big elephant body conscious. And when that same soul is existing ant body, it makes that whole ant body conscious. Okay, like that. So, so, so that soul, which has no material dimension, it is spiritual in nature, is spiritually very small compared to Supreme Lord. So, what is that small spiritually? All the qualities which Lord is possessing are oceanic, and soul has less in number, less in quantity. Same qualities, but Lord has in huge quantity and soul has in minute quantity. That's all. Read further.
The supreme soul is infinite, and the atomic soul is in.
Infinitesimal.
Therefore, the
Infinitesimal.
infinitesimal soul, being unchangeable, can never become equal to the infinite soul.
Yeah,
For
so
the
soul is always small. Soul is unchangeable and soul is small, so it can never become equal to God. Read further.
supreme personality of body. This concept is repeated in the Vedas in different ways just to confirm the stability of the conception of the soul. The repetition of something is necessary in order that we understand the matter thoroughly without error.
Yes. So soul, what is that concept? That soul is Anu, God is Vibhu. Okay. Soul is atomic, God is oceanic or infinite. Soul can never become equal to God, like that. So this concept is repeated. Why it is repeated? So that we don't get this confusion that I can become God. If something is repeated, that means to understand, isn't it? So this concept is repeated in the Vedas to make us understand that soul can never become God. Soul will always remain tiny only, minute only. It will never become God. Yes, next verse. अथ चैनं नित्यजातं नित्यं वा मन्यसे मृतं तथापि त्वं महाबाहो नयनं शोचितुमर्हसि. Read. You will read.
If, however, you think that the soul or the symptoms of life will always be born and die forever, you still have no reason to lament. O mighty arm,
Yes, wait. So Krishna explained so far that soul will never die and body will always die. Okay, body is always dead. Now Krishna is speaking from another perspective. If you think that soul is born and dies, still you have no reason to lament. If soul is born and dies, then you have no reason to lament. Hmm, just a minute. What Krishna is saying that if you think that soul is born and dies, just a minute. Born and dies. In the what Krishna is saying is, so if soul is always born and dies, so it is anyway going to die. So why to lament? Whether it will die now or it will die later. Why to lament like that? Still you have no reason. First of all, it doesn't die, and still if you think that it dies, you have still no reason to lament. Read the purport.
There is always a class of philosophers, almost akin to the Buddhists, who do not believe in the separate existence of the soul beyond the body. When Lord Krishna spoke the Bhagavad Gita, it appears that such philosophers existed and they were known as the Lokayatikas and Vaibhavasikas. Such philosophers maintain that life symptoms take place at a certain mature condition of material combination. The modern material scientists and materialistic philosophers also think similarly. According to them, the body is a combination of physical elements, and at a certain stage, the life symptoms develop by interaction of the physical and chemical elements. The science of anthropology is based on this philosophy. Currently, many pseudo religions, now becoming fashionable in America, are also adhering to this philosophy, as are the nihilistic, non devotional Buddhist sects.
So basically, Srila Prabhupada is saying that some philosophers think that by material combination, soul emerges. Okay, like that. So many scientists are also thinking like that. Read further.
Even if Arjun did not believe in the existence of the soul, as in the Vaibhasika philosophy, there would still have been no cause for lamentation. One laments the loss of a certain bulk of chemicals and stops discharging his prescribed duty.
Yes. So if the material chemicals are lost, do you worry about it like that? So from that perspective, there is no reason to lament. If it takes birth, it dies. Just it's all because of our attachment. Just like for example, I would say, uh, just like a toy is broken. Child is playing and the toy is broken, and child is crying. What father will say? Why to cry about it? Toys break. Take another toy. You understood? So like that Krishna is saying, why to bother about it? If you think that soul takes birth and dies, yes, it happens. Why to cry about it? Like that. Read further.
On the other hand, in modern science and scientific warfare, so many tons of chemicals are wasted for achieving victory over the enemy. According to the Vaibhasika philosophy, the so-called soul or Atma vanishes along with the deterioration of the body. So, in any case, whether Arjuna accepted the Vedic conclusion that there is an atomic soul or he did not believe in the existence of the soul, he had no reason to lament.
Wait. So if you think that soul exists and doesn't die, no reason to lament, because soul will not die. If you think that soul dies, still no reason to lament, because why to bother about? Because you are thinking it's in material terms now. Why to bother about loss of material things? Why to bother about it? It's not so important like that. Read further.
According to this theory, since there are so many living entities generating out of matter every moment, and so many of them are being vanquished every moment, there is no need to grieve for such incidents. If there
So
were
wait. If something is happening, just like now, phenomena of death is there, but it is from our observation. From our observation, we don't find death taking place so much around us. Yes, everyone is dying, and so many people are dying every day, every moment. But from our observation, we don't find so much death taking place. Consider the situation. Imagine that people are just dying, isn't it? Every day you hear the news. Every day you hear the news. Okay, maybe not just one day, one news in a day, 10 news in a day. That this person died, that person died, this person died, like that. You are hearing every day 10 times. Okay, and it is happening every day. That you every day you hear at least 10 people are dying who are around you. Then, after let's say 1 year, you get the news that this person also died. So why? Oh, yes, it happens. You understand? It happens. So why to bother about? Yes, it happens. People die. You don't become disturbed because you know it happens, isn't it? From that perspective, Krishna is saying, if you think that the soul dies, yes, so many people are dying. Why to bother about it? It happens. Understood, right? Like that. Read further.
if there were no rebirth for the soul, Arjun had no reason to be afraid of being affected by sinful reactions due to his killing his grandfather and teacher.
Wait. Yes, this is another point. See, 2 points I said first. First point I said, if soul dies, let's say if soul dies, then why to bother about it? It's such a cheap thing like chemicals. Do you worry about chemicals, loss of chemicals? Do you worry? Why to worry about loss of toy? Like that. This first perspective. No need to cry. Second perspective, so many people are dying. One more person is dead. Why to worry about it? And a third person, soul is dead forever now. It's not going to take rebirth. Why to worry about sinful reaction then? If you think that it's sinful to kill, if you think that it is sinful to kill, soul will be dead anyway. It's not going to take rebirth. Why are you worrying about sinful reaction then? Clear? Read further.
But at the same time, Krishna sarcastically addressed Arjuna as Mahabahu, mighty arm, because he at least did not accept the theory of Vaibhavashikas, which leaves aside the Vedic wisdom
Yes.
as a Kshatriya.
Wait. So Krishna is saying, so if even if you feel that soul takes birth and soul dies, still there is no reason to lament. And three perspectives are told already. But then Krishna is saying, you are Mahabahu. You are not such a low class person that you will accept this understanding. You will accept that no, soul is eternal. And from that perspective, you will not lament, like that Krishna is saying. Read further.
As a Kshatriya, Arjun belonged to the Vedic culture and it behooved him to continue to follow its principles.
Yes. Okay. So we should never think that soul is dead. We should follow the Vedic principles and we should understand that after this body is dead, soul continues to live in another body and one gets reaction of their past activities. And thus, we should be very careful in performing our present activities so that we should not suffer in future. This is Vedic principle. Okay. So when Lord Ram's father was dead, so one of the sage, so Bharat, King Bharat, no, Bharat went to Chitrakoot to get Ram back to Ayodhya. So they were giving different arguments to Ram that you should come back. And Ram was not agreeing to any of the arguments. Then one sage said, Dashrath Maharaj, when he was living, that time you gave him the promise. Now he is dead. Now dead means no botheration about the promise. Now he is dead, no botheration about the promise. No, you are not going to suffer any reaction if you will not follow the promise. So come back. Ram became very angry upon hearing this. He told Vasishtha Muni, how come you allowed this rishi to be in your group who is speaking an atheistic philosophy? Throw him out like that. Ram was very angry. But then Vasishtha Muni consoled him that he was just trying to speak like this so that you come back to Ayodhya. Actually, he doesn't mean like this. So, one should follow the Vedic principles very strictly. And Vedic principles are very deep actually. I mean, one should go deeper and deeper and deeper and try to follow it. Just like I will tell you one of the Vedic principles. Do not think the bad about even your enemy. Do not think ill about your enemy. This is Vedic principle. This is very deep principle. Some lighter principles are don't kill animal, like that. But here it is said, but to speak of killing, do not even think negative about your enemy. Now it's very clear that he is your enemy. Still don't think negative about him. This is Vedic principle. And one should live like that. So you should not think negative about your enemy. But the misbehavior of enemy should always be checked. Do not think negative about the enemy. So we will check the misbehavior of the enemy and still we will offer all good wishes for him. This is Vedic principle. Just stop the misbehavior of the enemy, and the more you stop the misbehavior of the enemy, the more enmity of the enemy increases. You understand? The more you stop the misbehavior of the enmity of the enemy increases. And still you have to remain his well-wisher. This is Vedic principle. This is how we have to live. Lord Ram, he exhibited these principles. Kaikai, she cursed. She banished Ram. It was not a small punishment. First is, you will not become king. That itself is very painful. I was about to be the king next morning, and now it is decided that you will not be the king. This itself is painful. On top of it, you get out. You get out. For how much time? 1 day, 2 days? No. 14 years. It's a long time. So, I mean, if you are having thought process on a lower level, then you cannot handle it comfortably. You will become very much negative towards the situation. That I am the elder brother, I am qualified, I am supposed to be the king. And what is this happening? So you can become very negative. But Ram, he accepted it very positively. He went to forest for 14 years. And when he returned, he offers obeisances to Mother Kaikai. This is Ram's character. Not only this, Ravan did Ravan offered so much trouble to Ram. So finally the whole battle took place and Ram killed Ravan. After Ravan was dead, Ram is saying, Vibhishan, perform the final rites. That means Ram fought against Ravan, but still he is keeping all good well wishes for the Ravan. This is Vedic principle. That you check the misbehavior of the enemy while keeping all good well wishes for the enemy. Ram did exactly like that. He killed Ravan because he was doing all sinful activities. After killing him, he is telling, let's do the final rites for him. So this is Vedic principle. This is how we are supposed to behave. So like that. So one should try to live with the Vedic principles. Then only one can be happy and peaceful. Sometimes we think in material terms that if I defeat this person, I will be happy. Like that. If I win over this kingdom, I will be happy. If I have this much control, that like that, then I will be happy. No, these are all materialistic things. It is not going to make us happy. It's going to create more and more disturbance. If you want to be happy and peaceful, follow Vedic principles. And these are the Vedic principles. Prahlad, he was tortured so much by his father. So much torture. Not for, even for a moment, Prahlad thought negative about his father. Always being respectful, always. One time, Mother Kayadu, she called Prahlad and she said to Prahlad, Prahlad, your father is a king. All the demigods listen to him. And you are just a small child. Why don't you listen to your father? Prahlad says to his mother, Mother, I listen everything of my father. My father says, go inside the fire, I go inside the fire. My father says, jump from the mountain hill, I do that. My father says, go and sit in the midst of all the poisonous snakes, I do that. Everything, whatever my father says, I do it. Only one thing I am not able to follow. My father is saying, don't remember God. How can that happen? That God who provided me father, he's saying like this, Prahlad, that God who provided me father, how it can happen that I will not remember that God who provided me my father? So like that Prahlad is saying. So he never had any negativity. Similarly, so I gave you example of Ram, I gave you example of Prahlad. Yudhishthir Maharaj, he also didn't have negativity. Yes, Yudhishthir Maharaj fought with Duryodhan and his army. But every evening, Yudhishthir Maharaj would go in the battlefield of Kurukshetra in the night, carrying the torchlight with some water. And he would go in the direction from where he would hear the, the painful crying of the wounded soldiers. Go near them, ask their names, ask their family details, ask their last wishes, and note it down, and offer them some water so that they peacefully die. So they fought in the day, but in the evening, when people are about to die, Yudhishthir Maharaj was keeping good wishes for everyone, wanted to help everyone. So this is how the nature of Vaishnava is. So this is the Vedic principle we are supposed to follow. So if we can imbibe this principle, it's very nice that we will check the misbehavior of the enemy while keeping all good wishes for him. This is the Vedic principle. And like that, so many examples are there in the scriptures. 500 years back, Haridas Thakur, he also behaved in the same manner. He was beaten up by the soldiers in 22 marketplaces. Very badly, he was beaten up. In spite of that, he's keeping good wishes for those soldiers, praying for their welfare. The prostitute came to Haridas Thakur to assassinate his character. Haridas Thakur was concerned about her welfare. She is coming with bad intention, and Haridas Thakur is concerned about her welfare. And thus Haridas Thakur said, all right, you sit here and you hear the holy name. In 3 days, by hearing the holy name from Haridas Thakur's lips, her character got purified. She lost all her bad intentions. And now she wanted to proceed on the path of devotion. So this is how a nature of Vaishnava is. Just check the misbehavior of the enemy. This is what Haridas Thakur did. This is what Yudhishthir did. Everyone did. Check the misbehavior of the enemy and offer all good wishes for that person. This is Vaishnava's nature. So these are the Vedic principles we are supposed to follow in our life. So Dhruv Maharaj, he also, Suruchi, she spoke very bad words against Dhruv Maharaj. And Dhruv Maharaj, with lot of anger, he went to forest. Lot of anger. It's not easy to go to forest for a small child. You require that much anger against someone to go to forest. So he went. And in 6 months of practicing devotion, his life changed. And after coming back, he is offering obeisances to same mother who caused so much of anger in his heart. Like that. Similarly, we have the example of who's that? Aditi. Aditi. No, Diti. she was having a very inimical nature against Indra. Indra is complaining against my son. Indra is complaining to Lord Vishnu against my sons. And then Vishnu is appearing and killing my sons. So she was having a lot of enmity against Indra. And this Indra should be killed. What to do? I should have a powerful son who will kill Indra. How to get that powerful son? Do some practices, some Vedic practices. So she started performing some vrata with the hope that she will get a powerful son who will kill Indra. But she was she was guided properly. So that vrata which she performed was not meant to get the powerful son to kill Indra, but a devotional practices. She was thinking that she will get that son, but she was performing devotion. Now here Indra, he is thinking that she is performing vrata to kill me. Now see Indra's mentality. Indra is thinking that she is performing vrata to kill me. Before her son takes birth, I will kill her son within the womb. This is Indra's mentality. So Indra, with that bad mentality, entered inside Aditi's womb and killed. But because she is performing so much of devotion, with that power of devotion, somehow those children didn't die. So Indra was thinking, why they are not killed? So he tried to kill again, they didn't die. Finally, all of them took birth. One child was there. Indra has a special weapon. He cut it. It became 7 parts. He further cut it. It became 49. Finally, 50 children took birth. 49 plus Indra. So, see, this is Indra's mentality that he's killing. But now the mother Diti, because she's practicing devotion, her heart is changed and she has no enmity towards Indra. Indra is killing and mother is considering her considering Indra as her own child without being disturbed. This is how Vaishnava's behavior is. So by our devotional practices, we are supposed to rise to such consciousness, such character. So these are the important Vedic principles which we are supposed to follow. So, so there are some basic Vedic principles, and there are such deep Vedic principles. And we are supposed to follow the principles of devotional practices and make our character rise to such high devotional principles. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Any clarification if anyone needs, you can ask.